He continues, God brought them out of Egypt. It has, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. This word translated as unicorn is Raim. In Akkadian, there was the name of an auroch. An auroch was Rimu. An auroch was a type of wild bull. It was very big, very large. It could not be domesticated. It existed until the 1600s, or maybe later, in Poland. Not only in the Middle East, but also in Poland. They used to, in the forest of Poland, they used to exist. Now they're extinct. But it's known as, but the Syrians refer to them as Rimu. And our understanding, and the Rimu is an ordinary bull. They had two horns. But our understanding, sometimes our understanding is that there was a subspecies of this beast, as we can see in ancient inscriptions, ancient pictures from as far as Denmark, Assyria, different places around the world. And in some cases, the horns of this beast grew together, some type of mutation, and instead, in other words, two parts of his two horns came together, so they came and merged into one horn. And that was one of the origins of the legends concerning the unicorn. And this fits the biblical descriptions of the unicorn being a very powerful beast and that is impossible to tame. And Raim is the name used in Hebrew. And so too, he says he brought them out of Egypt, has it with the strength of a unicorn. Unicorn is translated, Raim is translated as a unicorn. And he goes on, Numbers 23:23. There's no enchantment against Israel, Jacob, neither is any divination against Israel. And according to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what has God done? Certain things are decreed and will happen no matter what anybody does. And he says, Numbers 23:24, the people shall rise as a great lion and lift himself up as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink the blood of the slain. So here we have the two animals, the lion and the unicorn, representing Israel in the fulfillment of their destiny. And the lion and unicorn have been part of the symbols, traditional symbols of Britain. So that is also noticeable, worth noting. And it says, we also have a reference in Micah 5:8-9. The remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many peoples, as a young lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through but treads down and tears in pieces and none can deliver. Your hand shall be lifted up upon your adversaries, and all your enemies shall be cut off. And Balak said unto Bilaam, don't curse them and don't bless them. Neither curse them at all nor bless them at all. In other words, don't say anything. And in the book of Proverbs it says that the kindness of a wicked person is cruel. See Proverbs 12:10, a righteous man regards the life of his beast, the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So a righteous man regards the life of his beast, a good person. He looks after his animals, he feeds his dog, he looks after his donkey. He does what he has to do. He looks after the people working with him, the people he comes in contact with the members of his family, and his own needs. He looks after himself. He looks after the beast that he's in charge of. Whereas a wicked man, even the good things that a wicked man does are bad. And we know this is a phenomenon. The tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. People who are bad, they want to do good, they try and say, I only want to help you, I only want to do this and that. When you listen carefully to what they're saying, they want to help themselves, or they want to harm you, or even if they don't want to harm you, harm to you will come from it. So this is what we should know. We should be careful. You live in a life, you live amongst people, you can't control who you have make contact with, who you have to work with, who you have contact with, as I said. But you can moderate it. You can keep your eyes open, be aware, and be careful of coming into the power of bad people, because they are liable to do you harm even if they don't intend to. So this is part of the message here. And so Balak says, boy, let me take you into another place, and maybe God will let you curse them from another place. And so he took him to the top of Peor. that is Peor, that is a place meaning exposure. These people, they used to have Peor in the Hebrew means defecate in effect, or one of its meanings can be defecating. Part of their worship, part of their cult, was to defecate before the statue of their idol. This too was apparently part of what was going on. So Balaam again built 7 altars and 7 bulls and 7 rams. He offered them up. He tried to get a curse and he saw that it wasn't working. And Balaam, Numbers 24:2. He lifted up his eyes and saw Israel abiding in his tents according to their tribes, and the Spirit of God came upon him. So he saw Israel abiding according to their tribes. So this is I saw a commentary of Admiral Mislonim, and others also, abiding according to their tribes. When Israel abides according to their tribes, blessings, it's a source of blessing. We don't know what tribes we belong to, but we believe we're part of the 10 tribes. We should be proud of it, or take an interest in what's going on and identify with them, and perhaps have an idea what tribe we belong to. Maybe not. It's not. Some people it's easy, others not. Anyway, going according to your tribes is a source of blessing. Also, attaching yourself to your family, to your friends, to the people you live with. That is may also be a source of blessing. You are where you are for a reason. You are where you are for a reason. God placed you where you are for a reason, to do what you can. So be aware of that. And he goes on. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, and your dwelling places, O Israel. And he says, the valleys are they spread forth as the gardens by the riverside, as the trees of line, aloes, which the Lord has planted. And the cedar trees but beside the waters. And he says again, Israel will be a powerful people in the world. Shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. Talking about Israel in the end times, Israel will be the most powerful country on the earth. And he shall pour the water out of his buckets. What does it mean, pour the water out of his buckets? He shall exist in several oceans in different places. And areas where we identify their 10 tribes as being. They are in all the major oceans of the earth. Here we have it. Anyway, here we have it. What do we have here? Here we have North America. You see North America? Yeah, that's it, North America. Okay. On this side, we have the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean linking North America to Northwest Europe, and also Africa down there, the Atlantic Ocean. The other side of America, we have the Pacific Ocean. So the major oceans, so which will be in many waters to measure seaways. Pacific Ocean. Down from the Pacific Ocean, we have the Indian Ocean, where the Pacific Ocean links up with Australia. You know. And then across the seas of the Indian Ocean, we come to South Africa. We have a friend here, Yair from South Africa. You know, that's where he is down here. And he is between the Indian Ocean and on the other side, the Atlantic Ocean. So all the major seas have Israelites amongst them, dominating them to a degree. So that was part of the blessing, the prediction of Balaam in many waters. His seed shall be in many waters. And seed shall be in many waters. And he says, he hath as it were, God brought him out forth out of Egypt as it were the strength of a unicorn. He shall eat up the nations, his enemies, and shall break their bones and pierce them through with his arrows. Arrows that represent rockets. You shall fire rockets at them. And he is still related to the strength of a unicorn. And the word used for strength uses a word indicating one horn in the Hebrew. We've spoken of an article about this, indicating the ram could have had 2 horns, but in this case it means as a ram with 1 horn. That is a unicorn. And there's hardly, and they would be a powerful nation, eating up the nations. And there's hardly a nation in the earth. There's no nation, actually, Liechtenstein, one of Mongolia maybe, so doubt. One or two, three or four nations, little countries that Britain has not invaded at some time or other. All the rest of the countries of the world have been invaded by Britain at some stage in its history, in its recent history. And Britain was the most powerful country on the earth for a long time. Now America has taken its place. It says that the USA now spends more, even more than it used to on defence. The USA accounts for 40%, almost half, of all the money spent on defence in the world. In other words, you have the world here, America here, and all the rest of the world there. And what the USA spends on defence is equal to almost equal to all the rest of the world put together. And this is part of the blessing of Bilaam, the prediction of Bilaam. Should be in many waters. It should be stronger than Agag, the most powerful country at that time, most powerful country in the world. And this is what we have, this is what we find. He is a lion and a unicorn he is represented by. It's compared to, in some sense, we can also consider America and Britain as being one entity together, because in many senses they are. And so too we take these blessings literally, as they can well be understood, as they were intended to be understood. And we're looking for the 10 tribes. We have to find people who fit this criteria, who have these attributes. And only people whom we identify as belong to the 10 tribes, having a good push on the 10 tribes amongst them, they are the ones who have fit all of these signs and attributes given here, according to the Bible. This is what the Bible says. And he continues. And he also speaks about the defeat of Edom. Edom is Esau was a twin brother of Jacob. He was an enemy of Israel. Edom represents different powers. Part of the Germans descend from Edom, especially the elites amongst them. Also amongst the common people, they descend from Edom. Another name for Edom is Esau. We also find elements from Edom amongst the Chinese, amongst the Japanese. He is not racially prejudiced. He goes everywhere and becomes part of everything wherever he can, and he is characterized by creating or giving rise to military elites and creating nations throughout the earth. So, and we have other points of similar importance. An interesting point is that the blessing of Balaam says the Kenite, he predicts, the Hebrew, actually the English translations are difficult, he predicts that the Kenite shall be exiled, and Ashur, that is, the Syrians will take him away captive, and according to the commentators here is referring to the descendants of Jethro. Jethro is the father-in-law of Moses. Jethro also had a large number of descendants and a part of the Israelites attached to the Israelites. They're known as the Kenites, also known as the Rechabites. The Rechabites are mentioned in the book of Jeremiah as living in tents and abstaining from wine and so on. And so they're also given rise to abstentionists. They have abstentionist societies, different groups of people who abstain from alcohol. They call themselves Rechabites. Anyway, we find that descendants of the Rechabites, according to Jewish sources and also according to Irish sources, early Jewish sources said that the descendants of the Rechabites will be in the sacred isles of the sea. That usually in the classical literature meant Britain and Ireland. And so that is a Jewish, and other sources, Jewish sources also say something similar. And also we have a researcher, Tubal Cain, who corresponds with us. He sent us extracts from a book, Phoenicians in Ireland, by Joaquin Lorenzo who was a bishop of Spain in the 1700s. and he wrote a book concerning different aspects of Ireland, and he found place names in the Northern Ireland, in Donegal and Londonderry and other areas, such areas in the northwest of Ireland, where they have place names known as associated with the Kenite, the Kenites, and these are the Kenites, descendants of Jethro, who are apparently in that area. And seeing that this too is proof of the lost in tribes are amongst Western nations, amongst Western peoples.
2 comments, Yair.
Okay. Yohanan, okay.
Hi. Okay, thank you. I think we ought to all be in prayer for the world because of what is happening in Russia and in Ukraine.
Okay, what about them?
Well, Russia is accusing Ukraine of about to blow up the nuclear power plant in the south of Ukraine, and Ukraine is accusing Russia of the same thing. And NATO is having a meeting on July the 11th in Lithuania, and they are expecting Ukraine to make progress. And Ukraine it's a very desperate situation because the West wants war. Okay? So I think we should all be in prayer during this week and ask God for mercy for the whole earth and Israel, because this, I believe, is going to affect the whole earth as well as Israel. Okay?
Okay.
Now my second comment is, are the Normans from the tribe of Benjamin?
Yes, we believe they were.
Okay. Okay.
That is our impression. That is not only we say that, others have said that as well. There were elements from Benjamin amongst the Normans, also in France in general, also amongst the Belgians, elements from Benjamin. Yeah, and the Normans were an important people. They were progressive for their time. William the Conqueror conquered England, and his son was William Rufus. William the Conqueror conquered England, and he brought Jews into England from Rouen in Normandy. And they were the first Jews of whom we have records, of whom we have recognized records. So apparently, I just posted out now, there were always Jews there, also Jews there from Roman times, but there were no recognized organized records of them until the Normans came, and William the Conqueror came and let the Jews come. And William Rufus, in some ways, was a bad man, but he also had good points about him. And he was pro-Jewish, he was helpful to the Jews. He once organized a disputation, usually disputations between Jews and Christians were very serious events, and the intention was to force the Jews to convert to Christianity. So William Rufus did also held a disputation, but he was a bit different. He told the priests that if they did not put up a good argument, he would become a Jew. And the priests took him seriously. So, and also the Jews didn't want any trouble, so they arranged between themselves to have a type of argument and call it a draw, that no one won. But that is a point of interest. And that was William Rufus, the son of William the Conqueror, and the Normans also introduced rational Latin type of thinking, thought, French type of thought, even more rational than French, and they introduced new forms of fortification and new ways of thinking, and they had a lot of things that we condemn them for in the light of our own standards, but compared to what they took place of, what came before them, they were probably better. England was probably a better place because of them. And all events that were there, they were historically important. Does anyone...
I believe...
What you would say, sorry?
Yeah, I believe my father's house came over with William the Conqueror.
The what? I didn't.
I believe my father's house came over with William the Conqueror in 1066.
Oh, very good. Very nice. Very nice. I also saw an interesting thing, an interesting point. So, first of all, the Normans that came, the Normans were 50, the people came over with William the Conqueror. About 50% of them were Normans from Normandy, and the rest were adventurers or different people from other parts of France. So it was actually Normans and French people together. And they came over and they conquered, and they settled, they intermarried, and they settled amongst the English. But even now, I saw a study, people with names, Norman names, showing that they have Norman origin. They are statistically more likely to be, relatively speaking, successful than other people. So that's a point of interest. Norman ancestry still helps. It's still worth something. And it also shows the importance of names, the importance of tribes, the importance of belonging. That it still has an effect. It's still, after a long period, after such a long time of people intermixing, people moving here and there, something of what their forefathers had remains with each and every one of us. So that is important in studying the tribes and studying ancestry.
Yeah, God has shown me a lot about both sides of my family, but there's still a lot of things I'm asking that He hasn't yet shown me. Like, I don't know how we got into France, but I do feel that we were in the northeastern part of France when William went over, when we went over with him. We may have gone into Switzerland. The name is even in northern Germany among the Angles, but it's German, it's not English, but it's spelled the same way. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's all interesting. Okay, so has anyone any questions, any comments? We'll call it a night. It's very nice you being here. May the Lord God of Israel bless all of us, all of you. And come again. We'll meet again, God willing. I hope you benefit. I hope you like this. I hope you like this talk. This talk also helps me a lot. It helps me. I find it much easier to give a talk when people like yourselves are present. And so this helps all of Brit-Am. All of Brit-Am, all of our listeners benefit from this. So, and you two are participants in this. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for this talk. It was good. Very interesting.
Okay. Okay, very good. So I'll see you all again. Hashem, may the Lord God of Israel be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yair.
Thank you, Yair.
Bye, everyone.